Hello everybody and welcome back to Tyrion Cuthbert, attorney of the Arcane. Today we are starting the second case, The Walking Dead. Stop acting like you know the way ahead, like you know the rules. There are no rules, man, we're lost. So I already tried to record this video, but there's some very bad issues with the recording, and it did not go well. Like I finished the part, and like the first investigation part. Now I have to redo all that. Let's get started. How are we going to get all of this out on time? The myriad of empty plates laid around the kitchen filled Valerie with dread. It was almost time for breakfast, and soon the students would be upon them. Valentina quickly passed by her sister as she snatched a tray off the counter. She was jumping between multiple stations, but even then, each movement she made was quick and purposeful. The kitchen was a machine. Valentina just had to turn each gear single-handedly. But in her hands, it ran like clockwork, most of the time. Val, are you finished plating the smoked salmon? Right, sorry. Valerie stared at the excess assortment of food they had prepared for the noble children. She grimly remembered the years she and her sister spent starving in an orphanage. Are they even going to eat all of this? They won't. They'll taste a few of them and throw the rest out. It still has to be perfect when it hits the cafeteria. Okay. Valerie watched as her sister lifted each of the croissant slices, measuring their width against her index finger. These slices are too thick. It's going to overpower the salmon. Does that really matter? I thought they really liked your croissants. Trust me, if the ratio's off, they will make sure we know. Some of these kids would have us executed for bad plating if they could. Before Valerie could respond, one of the kitchen timers went off. Valentina quickly rushed to the stove and began melting butter in a pot. About that, one of House Frega's attendants came by earlier. Valentina barely glanced away from the pot as she poured a bowl of eggs into it and began beating them. Her face tightened at the mention of Lady Frega. Her whisk moved slightly more violently. What does Miriam want now? She's asking for a roasted peacock. For breakfast? She also wants honey lacquered brioche bread topped with Arcane whipped cream and Ixian strawberries. And it gets even better! Just grab me the normal stuff from the pantry when you can. You know that spoiled brat can't tell the difference. Here, stir these eggs for me. Valentina handed her sister the pot of scrambled eggs. Valerie's shoulders tensed. She was great with a knife, but her forays with the stove never ended well. What? But the stove's on low heat. The stove's on low heat. Just keep stirring. Okay. Valentina's mind was already on the next task. She entered the freezer and dragged out the butchered peacock. Luckily, they just received the meat shipment that morning. It hadn't fully frozen yet. She quickly tossed it onto the counter and began weaving cooking twine around its leg. Scaled Lord! These kids have no idea how good they have it. Valentina Ioannis was the Imperial Academy's head chef, and pâtissier, brewer, butcher, and saucier. I don't know how to say that first word in the last one. I think saucier is correct, but I don't know. The staff used to fulfill each of these roles. The staff that used to fulfill each of these roles were let go one by one. The work of Professor Bellwether and her disdain for commoners. At first, the twins had welcomed the chance to cook for children of nobles. The pay was astounding. But it wasn't long before they discovered that why this kitchen had seen such a rapid turnover. Hey, you two. How's breakfast going? The Academy's custodian trudged into the cafeteria. His posture was heavy, and his eyes were half dead. The same as usual, Jan. How about you? Same as usual. Yeah? Valentina recalled the many times she caught Jan napping in the pantry. Oh, Jan, I packed some of last night's risotto on the counter. Val, the eggs! Oh, right. Valentina grimaced as she looked over the pot of eggs. The liquid was no longer emulsified. It was still edible, but it wasn't perfect. Something below the Imperial Academy's self-imposed standards. Val, come on! I have to start over now! I only left them for a second. You two look busy. I'll just, I'm sorry. Valentina pressed her hands together, closed her eyes, and took a deep breath. It's fine. Just help me prep the next batch while I grab the ingredients for Miriam's food. Okay, I'll... Oh, gods. Valentina saw her sister tense up. What was it now? Catherine is coming. She doesn't look happy. Are you serious? What is that frizzy little... Hello, Miss Bellwether! Professor Bellwether? What can I do for you today, Professor? Care to explain what this is? The professor presented Valentina with the eggs Benedict that she'd personally prepared earlier. It looked perfect. It was exactly what she asked for, too. I'm sorry, is there something wrong with your breakfast? These eggs are all mushy and undercooked. There's no crisp to them at all. Those are poached eggs, Professor. Poached? You know, it's when you boil eggs in a pot of simmering water and... Boiled? Do you think this is whatever shelter Redmond plucked you out of? I won't swallow another piece of this rustic grime. I expect a metal what? A meal befitting of the Imperial Academy. Do it right this time. Right away, Professor! Valentina thought of slapping that snooty attitude right off her face. It would be easy. She could have done it right at that moment. What did she have to lose anyway? They were already planning on firing her. But she took a deep breath. Nothing was worth drawing the ire of Bellwether's friends on the school board. Some professor, you doesn't know what Eggs Benedict is. These stupid mages wouldn't know good food if it walked up to them and jumped down their throats. Case 2. The Walking Dead. Stop acting like you know the way ahead, like you know the rules. There are no rules, man. We're lost. I'm sorry, Celeste, but there's nowhere left to go. Wait! I think I have something! Celeste's eyes darted around the chessboard, scanning for a way to escape my attack. I could see her measuring every angle of attack, of retreat, but I'd been in this endgame plenty of times before. It was already over. Celeste, just surrender. She didn't respond. Her eyes continued to search for the exact piece she needed to move. There, what about that? I immediately moved my knight to respond. Checkmate. Damn it! Can I get a do-over? Professionals don't get do-overs. Would you two keep it down? We're in a library. My mentor's eyes were fixed on the chessboard between Celeste and me. Soon they went straight to me. We were just taking a break. A pretty short break from the looks of it. So it's going to be like that. I suppose it's going to be like that. The Imperial Library was supposedly one of the largest in Wyverngard. I'd never seen so many books. I honestly felt quite at home here. There was no noise and everyone kept to themselves. Aside from a few dirty looks from nearly everyone here, I was free to do my research in peace. Something strange had happened during Celeste's trial last week. The final moment with Piers had awakened something new in me. I used the Eye of Horus in a way I'd never had before. I wasn't a mage. Miss Timora and I had confirmed as much when I failed to attune to a blank spell compendium. Which meant I couldn't learn arcane magic, but my ability must have been closely related to it. The Imperial Academy was a school for the most talented mages in Wyverngard. The library on campus supposedly held the kingdom's entire knowledge on magic. But with all the books I'd read, I still couldn't find a single mention of anything like the Eye of Horus. There weren't any arcane spells that could affect the mind, and everything I'd read today had just confirmed that. With all its resources, the kingdom has to have seen something like this. Are they hiding that information, even from the nobility? Are you sure you can't tell me what you're looking for? I've seen a lot when I was traveling outside Wyverngard. Maybe I can help. Celeste had a point, but Miss Dimora didn't completely get along with her. I'm sure she'd have objections, and even if she didn't, my mentor had always been wary about letting people know about my Eye of Horus. It was a magical ability that didn't follow the rules of arcane magic. The biggest advantage of the Eye of Horus was that no one ever knew about it. Sorry, I can't. Fine! Aren't you supposed to be researching new spells? Oh, I'm almost finished! Already? You should really challenge yourself more, McCoy. Whatever, Ruby. Now, tell me why you didn't Now, why don't you tell me what you're looking for? They must be researching non-arcane magic. Oh my god, we're under attack. We nearly jumped out of our chairs as that girl appeared next to us. I even saw Celeste's hand twitch toward her sword. The girl must have been a student at the academy, but she didn't trust like the aristocrats here. Her expression was kind, but also a blank in a way. It was impossible to read. You're creepy as fuck. There was something ethereal to her demeanor. It felt like I was speaking with a ghost. How long has she been standing there? I hadn't noticed her at all. She looked oddly familiar, too. I should apologize, but I overheard your conversation. As she approached our table, another student followed behind her. Oh yeah, this reminds me. His eyes started to each person at the table like a rodent appraising every threat in the room. I wanna... Yeah, there's some magical runestone, something. Yeah, okay, that's the same. As practicing defense attorney and the best chess player in all of Wyverngard. My personal bodyguard. She accompanies me everywhere to keep me safe. She's energetic and is really competitive. She seems to have an abnormally high strength despite her small figure. She's an adept fighter and has saved my life on multiple occasions. Ruby! Timora! My mentor and legal guardian. She raised me after my mother was killed and taught me everything I know about being an attorney. In contrast to the girl, who was as tightly wound as a violin. It looked like even the slightest sign of danger would send him scurrying away. I'm gonna give him the Ron Maru voice. Eris, you really shouldn't... I'm so sorry. Even if I apologize, they wouldn't have us executed. It's fine, Wallace. Who are you two? That was incredibly rude of me. Most everyone calls me Eris Ilmater. Mysterious almost... Oh. Okay. Eris Ilmater, occupation student, age 16, a mysterious and almost ethereal girl. It's hard to read what she's really thinking. I'm guilty to admit it, but I always feel a sense of dread whenever I'm around her. She seems nice, however. I just need to do a better job of checking my preconceptions. This is Wallace Nightgrave. We're both students here. Hi! Wallace Nightgrave, occupation student, age 16. A student in the Wyvern Guard Imperial Academy. He's extremely anxious and looks ready to flee at any moment's notice. He's very secretive about the type of magic he studies. That was a private conversation, by the way. Researching unconventional forms of magic is actually a hobby of mine. I might be able to help you with your research, Mr. Cuthbert. And what makes you so sure that is what we're researching? Your protege has a bad habit of muttering to himself when he thinks. I assumed that his research had something to do with magic that was unlike the Arcane. You don't have to glitch out, you don't have to fuck with us. I felt a piercing side glance from Miss Timora. I just pretended not to notice. But anyways, I'd really appreciate your help. Do you mind if I ask a few questions? Of course! I'd be happy to help. Wait. Fine. I suppose it wouldn't hurt. Just be more careful, Tyrion. Right. Seriously? You're showing me the badge now? Badge? It's an attorney's runestone. We're really threading the line, aren't we? Are you going to make a habit of showing this thing to everyone you meet? I just think that it's neat. The fourth wall breaks on this girl. Are you two students at the Imperial Academy? I'm currently taking classes here for the illusion program. Illusions! That's the kind of magic that lets you turn invisible, right? Technically, yes. But few mages ever reach that level. I'm a bit sad to admit that I'm not able to cast that arcane spell. That's still pretty cool. What about you, Wallace? Wallace has a unique field of study. Please don't ask him about it. Oh, okay. Rumors about you two have been floating around. Really? Many recognized you from the news articles about Miss McCoy's trial. Really? The students were surprised to see you two on the Academy grounds this morning. This made sense in some ways. The school was a cornerstone of the nobility's power. This was the last place anyone would expect us to take interest in, much less be permitted to enter. Luckily, Miss Timora had a lot of connections that she could pull on. I'm particularly surprised that you're still in Wyvern Guard, Miss McCoy. I figured the Crimson Demon would be off on another violent escapade. Oh gods! The paper found out about that? Crimson Demon? Don't ask. Anyways, I'm working as Tyrion's personal mercenary now. Mercenary? I'd prefer the term bodyguard. I'd successfully indicated Pierce in her trial, but that invited a lot of unwanted attention. It wasn't long before I found armed thugs suspiciously looming around my house. After what happened to Flintheart, Celeste wanted to stay close to her mother. Theowand even kept the teleportation circle from the investigation active for her. This time I saw an opportunity to hire her as my bodyguard. I did get along pretty well with her after all. It was nice to have someone to talk to while I was getting acquainted with being an attorney. It was also nice to have someone who could toss an armed thug with one arm. Unconventional magic. One might wonder why you're researching such things. Such a thing. I want to know too. Hi, Ruby. I'm sorry. I can't really say. There's so many spells in this world, and new ones are always being discovered. What makes you so certain that this magic isn't arcane? The magic I'm looking into doesn't follow the conventions of arcane magic. Oh? How so? Well... I needed to tread carefully. Miss Timore's glare agreed. It was cast by someone who's not a mage. Oh, really? That implies that it was cast by a person, and it wasn't something like artificery. I flashed an apologetic look to my mentor. That does remind me of a story. A story? Mr. Cuthbert, are you familiar with the legends about how Wyvern Guard was created? You mean the story about the ancient dragons? Dragons? I knew you'd find it interesting. Are you talking about the stories told by the Church of Bahamut? Technically, there's only ever mention of one ancient dragon, Rathalion, the Scaled Lord. Supposedly, the first mages were created centuries ago by him. What? I never knew that! In the year 10 BSB, Wyverngard was a small kingdom caught between two warring nations, Ixia to the east and Lumina to the west. With no way to protect themselves, the kingdom was on the brink of destruction. Its people prayed to Bahamut, the god of dragons, for salvation. I was about to say the drag of Goddins. And almost as if to answer their prayers, Rathalion, the last of the ancient dragons, appeared before them. He took pity on their plight and granted them the gift of magic. It was a weapon our greatest warriors wielded without equal. With arcane magic in hand, these warriors laid devastation upon our enemies. They didn't just stop the war, they joined the battle and single-handedly won it, taking large swaths of territory for themselves. With our nation protected and our power made known, these warriors went to form in the noble houses of today. What a load of nonsense. That story is nothing but religious propaganda created to prop up the noble houses. Regardless, the significance of this legend is in the Scaled Lord himself. Rathalion. He bestowed the power to become a mage on several individuals. And to this day, that power can only be passed through bloodlines. Can you think of an arcane spell that can reproduce something like that? No, I suppose not. Rathalion had powers that weren't bound by the conventions of the arcane arts. In other words, he could use magic that was distinct from the magic of today. Please, do you honestly expect us to believe a story like that? It's completely unrealistic. As unrealistic as a non-mage using magic? She has a point. It was the closest thing I had to a lead right now. Oh, of course, it's you lot making all this noise. One of the instructors of the academy approached us disdainfully. She looked like a woman of the aristocracy. Every bit of her demeanor carried that, from the stiffness of her posture to the condescending grimace on her face. I don't like how, like, this entire part is using this one song. Like, I kind of don't like this song right now. She glared at each of us like we were the most disgusting things she'd ever seen in her life. Professor Bellwether. Catherine Bellwether, occupation professor, age 34, a professor who teaches magic at Wyvern Guard's Imperial Academy. She's quite abrasive to just about everyone. She seems to have a particular disdain for commoners. That is Professor Bellwether to you. He said that. But he just called you. I knew letting rabble into our walls would lead to nothing but trouble. You even started associating with our malcontents. Wallace? Yes? How am I supposed to understand what you and your stuttering? Yes, Professor Bellwether. Straighten out your uniform and fix that awful hair. I know it's unreasonable to expect anything more from you, but try not to look like such a street urchin. Wallace shrank away from the professor. He acted like a scared and beaten animal. I could see Celeste's fist start to clench. She looked like she was about to toss the professor across the room. I flashed her a look. Any trouble we caused would just make things worse for Eris and Wallace. As for the rest of you, your rowdy behavior is disrupting the other students. Leave. Now. Oh, please. The headmaster gave us express permission to be here. That may be, but the school board has placed the Imperial Library under my jurisdiction. I can remove anyone who disrupts the studies of our prize students. Why would you have authority over that? My apologies, Professor. We'll try to keep our volume lower. I don't believe I was talking to you, boy. Know your place. Oh, Tyrion, please tell me you feel threatened so I can defend you. I wanted to avoid a confrontation, but part of me really wanted to see that. If you refuse to leave, I'll have no choice but to remove you myself. I'll have you know that I'm the most accomplished mage at this academy. Trust me, you'll find spellcasting difficult when something's hitting you in the face. Come at me, bitch. I'll wear you like a sweater. I definitely got hints of Flynnheart in her thoughts every so often. I don't have to stand for this. That girl is like a rabid dog. It'd be best to keep my distance. I was just on my way to speak with the headmaster. He will be hearing of this. Oh, you're going to tell on us? I'm so scared. Celeste, you're a little scary. Aw, thank you. Anyways, Wallace, you finished this week's assignment, haven't you? Would you mind entertaining Celeste while I aid Mr. Cuthbert? I don't know. Now that you mention it, I could really use some help learning a new spell formula. You know your way around here, right, Wallace? Okay. I'll be discreet, Miss Timora. Please do. I still have some business to take care of here. I'll leave you to it. She was about to leave, but she stared at Eris warily. Is something wrong, Ruby? No, not at all. I spent the next few hours searching through the library's books with Eris. I hadn't thought to look into the ancient dragons. The library had religious texts about them in abundance. There was one problem, though. These texts read more like myths than real historical documents. It can't be helped. The Church of Bahamut has far too much influence in Wyvern Guard. To them, history is a narrative to be embellished rather than something to be preserved. The bones of dragons are displayed in Wyvern Guard's museums. Without those, Most would have no evidence that they even existed. Except for Athalion, possibly. According to those legends, dragons can't die of old age. Presumably, he'd still be alive. I wouldn't be surprised. Despite everything, the kingdom includes him in our constitution. Wait, really? As the savior of our kingdom, he and his kin were given an honorary position in our kingdom. The Scaled Lord made Wyvern what it is today. He was given authority that befits such a legacy. How have I never heard of this before? I've memorized all of Wyvern's laws. Practically speaking, it's never been invoked. It's merely a law spun of reverent words to praise the Scaled Lord and appease the church. I was so stuck in my own thoughts that I'd accidentally walked face first into a bookshelf. The shelf slowly began to tip, and I had to catch it before it knocked over the other shelves like a set of dominoes. Several books fell out of it as I slowly set the shelf back in place. They hit the ground with a cacophony of thuds. Some students glanced over at me, annoyed by the noise. I really hoped Bellwether wasn't still around to see that. Be quiet! I wasn't sure where the voice was coming from, but it sounded annoyed. Some random southerner. Sorry! Be quiet! Eris giggled to herself as she watched me flounder around. Hey, are you okay? We heard a loud noise and... Oh! The two of them scanned over the pile of fallen books around me. What did you do? That's not important! Can you help me clean this up? There's no need for that. Wallace, can you call over the construct? Why do you always make me do it? Please? Construct, I require assistance. Acknowledged. What is that? Upon Wallace's command, one of the nearby suits of armor suddenly sprang to life and marched toward us. The voice coming from it sounded like a woman's, but it lacked any emotion. I could have sworn that I'd heard its voice before. Oh, I thought those things were just decorative. This is an arcane construct. It's a suit of armor brought to life using artificery. They're designed to carry out various tasks on campus. Obtained evidence, arcane constructs. Arcane constructs are suits of armor that are animated using artificery. They can carry out simple tasks when ordered to. The ones in the Imperial Academy speak using the voice of Catherine Bellwether. These voice lines can only be changed or adjusted by the Academy headmaster. Every command given to a construct is stored in its command log. However, this command log must be cleared regularly. Really? I didn't know how Artificer had come that far. They're still experimental. They aren't available to the public yet. House Von Sanctus is using the Academy as a testing ground for them. Construct, can you please put those books back where they belong? Acknowledged. You're so polite to them. You know they're just machines, don't you? They're really helpful. It just feels wrong to be rude to them. The construct jumped straight into its task, its metallic hands moving with a quick yet delicate precision. It wasn't long before all the books were back exactly where they belonged. Wow! So they do whatever you tell them to? There are some limits to... Construct, tell me that I'm the fairest maiden you've ever seen! Command rejected. Aww, what? I guess they're not able to lie. Watch it, Cuthbert! The construct's voice is an amalgam of pre-recorded phrases. I'm not sure if you noticed, but it uses the voice of Professor Bellwether. Ugh, I knew there was something wrong with it. Unfortunately, we can't make them say anything other than basic responses. Only the headmaster can change those settings. I've heard of artificery recording audio, but I think they could process and respond to what I'm saying. I've never seen anything like it. But you just said that they're experimental, right? Maybe I can find a way to trick it into doing what I want. I advise against that. We've had several instances of students using them to play pranks. Even if your commands are rejected, they're still stored in the construct's logs, not laws, what? And weren't you researching spells with Wallace? Oh, that? I'm already done. I've just been reading Death at Daggerfall. Did you know they have the unpublished manuscript of the newest book? Those books are apparently her favorite series of murder mysteries. She'd been recommending them to me for the entire week. And by recommending, I meant she'd been leaving those books around my house. I think at one point she somehow snuck them into Miss Timora's office. I really got an earful from my mentor about that one. There's no possible way you're already done learning those new spells. We've only been here for a few hours. Yeah? You want to bet? Sure, show me your spell compendium. What? No! I can't tell him yet. I want it to be a surprise. I didn't catch any lies through the Eye of Horus. Was she really telling the truth? I never actually knew the process for learning new spells. I just knew that it involved becoming familiar with unique spell formulas. She was fidgeting a lot when we were reading together this morning. She basically forced me into taking a break to play chess with her. If you were in the fiction section, did you get the chance to read Wraithbound? This again? It's a great series, Celeste. The best series I've ever read. Even after nearly a century, those books had aged like fine wine. Look, Tyrion, I'm sorry, but I just can't get into it. The whole thing just feels so hammy and unrealistic. Come on, it's a classic story of good versus evil. Corin Bloomvale is a literary genius. Maybe I needed to start leaving my copies of Wraithbound in the McCoy Tavern. Look, I'm just not into the fantasy genre. How is fantasy a genre in a fantasy world? Like, I don't see how it can, unless their fantasy is our world. Good. Those books are terrible anyways. What? I should get back to work. Scaled Lord. Did I say that out loud? Also, this is just Athena's mechanic. The Mood Matrix. His Eye of Horus is the Mood Matrix. Minus, the bits about actually reading people's thoughts and making them think things, like projecting things to their mind. Let's go, Celeste. Okay? Let's keep going, Harris. I had no intentions of letting Celeste get ahead of me. I read more and more about the ancient dragons. I looked at anything I could get my hands on, historical accounts, religious texts, even folk tales. But after finding the 12th embellished story about a dragon fighting a knight, I was starting to lose hope. The most recent story was the worst. It read like the fantasy novels I usually read. But even I had a limit. At this point, I felt like one of those arcane constructs, hollowly reading out the words of yet another myth to myself. The dragon awoke with a rumble, hot steam pouring from its mouth. The knight responded in kind, drawing his steel and charging forward. But the dragon had his own weapon. He used his Eye of Bahamut to... My dull rhythmic dictation broke when I read that line. I straightened out in my chair, and inspected each subsequent line carefully. He used his Eye of Bahamut to call upon the power of radiance to pierce through the knight's soul. Not a single thought was concealed from his gaze. The knight's thoughts, even his emotions, were laid bare before the skilled giant. That description sounded eerily familiar. I named my ability the Eye of Horus when I was a child. At the time, I was just copying one of my childhood friends. But was I actually using this Eye of Bahamut? Honestly, Eye of Horus fits better. Ah, the Eye of Bahamut. Ah! You're scary! You're scary! I jumped out of my seat again. How did she always sneak up on me like that? Do you know about this Eye of Bahamut? This is the first time I've seen it mentioned. Ah, legends say that the Eye of Bahamut holds the power to mimic the radiance of the celestial gods. The celestial gods? Are they anything like the Scaled Lord? Not quite. I doubt you'd find anything about them here. The Eye of Bahamut mimics the radiance of the gods. Does that mean that the Dragonland story is mimicking magic related to these Celestials? Unfortunately, knowledge of them is quite scarce in Wyverngard. Even mentioning the Celestials could very well tie a noose around your neck. It's forbidden to possess any text that even whisper their names. Ugh. The kingdom must have been suppressing knowledge of religions other than the Scaled Lord. No wonder I couldn't find any information here. Was this whole morning a colossal waste of time? No, this was still a lead. If I couldn't read about the celestial gods here, I just had to look somewhere else. Miss Tamora had a lot of connections. I'm not sure if she'd condone the risk of buying illegal books, though. Suddenly, a low-pitched thrum thundered across the room. It was unnaturally loud. It must have been produced by some sort of magic. What? What is that? Were you messing around with the arcane constructs? What? No! I mean, only a little. I didn't expect that to trip anything. It finally stopped. Eris, wasn't that the lockdown? Yes, I believe so. Lockdown? The Academy is outfitted with the largest artificery system. In a state of emergency, it will erect magical barriers throughout the building. State of emergency? Should we be worried? Don't worry. The lockdown is designed to keep everyone sequestered. We're safe from most threats as long as those barriers stay up. But, Miss Timora, wasn't she still on the campus? I'm terribly sorry. A disembodied voice cut through the anxious murmurs of the students in the library. The students and faculty, please remain calm. There's been an attack in one of the lecture halls. What? Please stay where you are and wait for the city watch to arrive. We have to get out of here. What? Tyrion, no! That's the last thing we should do. I ran towards the library entrance. My body crashed into the door. It didn't budge at all. I desperately pushed and pulled at the handle, trying to wrench the door open. Tyrion, stop that! But, Miss Timora! I know that you're worried about her, but it's not safe out there. Look, the best thing we can do right now is stay here and wait until the lockdown is over. I knew she was right, but I couldn't just stand here and do nothing. I began shaking the door handle, but my foot was repelled by the low hum of magical energy. It didn't move at all. Celeste's hand rested on the hilt of her sword. Her eyes slowly scanned our surroundings. The other students watched her fearfully. No one dared to come near us. Celeste? I think you can calm down. They said that the attack was in the lecture hall. She answered him without breaking her glare. We don't know what's happening. We don't know what's happening, and it's my job to keep Tyrion safe. She also calmed me down earlier. It was easy to forget sometimes, but she was really vigilant when it counted. What? Students and faculty, thank you for your patience. The Knights have secured the building. The lockdown has been lifted. However, please remain in the building until... He was barely finished with his announcement before I was out the door. Tyrion! Hey, don't go off on your own! I desperately ran through the academy halls. No. No! Miss Timora! Miss Timora, where are you? I was running blindly. My breath was haggard. My heart was racing. Dread was creeping inside me with each passing moment. I didn't even know where I was going. Cuthbert? What's wrong? Why are you shouting? Miss Timora! Are you okay? You're breathing. Relief washed away my anxiety. I just embraced my mentor tightly. She'd always demanded I keep a professional distance from her, but despite myself, I was just relieved she was safe. Tyrion, there you are! And you're crying. Cuthbert, you're hurting me. Sorry. I let go of her and tried to stifle my tears. We heard the announcement. Are you okay, Ruby? I am, but... Miss Timora glanced at Wallace. She slowly put herself between us. For now, I think we should head to the foyer. We arrived at the foyer. The academy was swarmed with a legion of familiar knights. The Inquisition? Don't tell me. They mentioned that there was an attack on the campus. They must have used magic. Hey, you there. As we came into the foyer, the commander marched toward us. But his attention wasn't focused on Celeste this time. Huh? Wallace Nightgrave, by the authority of the Wyvern Guard Crown, I'm placing you under arrest. Before Wallace could react, Orin grabbed him by the wrist and began dragging him away. Hey! What are you doing? You three? What the hell are you doing here? You said he was under arrest? On what charges? The charge of first-degree murder. This damn mage killed Catherine Bellwether. What? Celeste grabbed the commander's arm and wrenched him off of Wallace. Orin showed no resistance, clearly remembering what happened during her arrest last week. Like hell you're arresting him? He was with us in the library the entire morning. There's no way he could have murdered her. Step aside, Celeste. But... No, Miss Timora's right. If Wallace is a suspect, we can't legally stop the Inquisition from arresting him. It'd be best for you to go with them, Wallace. I'm sure you can get this all sorted out. I could only watch as the Inquisition dragged them away. My apologies. I'm going to accompany him. I can't believe this. They arrested him, even though he was in a different room. The school is filled with plenty of pages. There has to be a longer list of suspects. What do we do now? Let's head to the lecture halls. That's where the murder must have taken place. Cuthbert? Yes? He hasn't accepted you as his attorney. You don't even know if he'll be working this case. But I know that he's innocent. She looked like she was about to reprimand me. But she just let out a defeated sigh. Just remember that being an attorney is your job. Our law firm isn't a charity. If you overextend yourself, I'm not going to pay for your rent for you. Right. I have another appointment in the city. Can you two take it from here? Yes, of course. Alright, let's go, Tyrion. Alright, let's go, Celeste. Oh, I've been waiting for our first case. Celeste, Wallace was just arrested. Be respectful. Right, sorry. I was reluctant to admit that I was just as excited as she was. Yes, I would like to save my progress. See, I already saved that there. Oh, fuck, I forgot about that. Yeah, so we will be starting the second investigation segment and actually investigating the crime. Hopefully Wallace lets us be his lawyer next time. Bye-bye!